the need for skin minimalism in the first place, what is the bigger context. Then we introduce the concept of skin minimalism to our audience. We'll also be looking into how the personal care value chain today is reacting to skin minimalism as a theme, and what are some of the interesting use cases that are being observed in the industry. So even before we go to the topic, let's take a step back and look into some of the underlying drivers. So what we have seen is in the recent past, there has been a lot of focus which is towards taking care of one's own skin or taking care of the beauty aspect of personal care. Interestingly, we see that, for example, before the pandemic, one of the surveys suggests that about 28% of the respondents engaging themselves in full face care activities and regimes. However, during the pandemic, the same set of respondents and consumers, the percentage who focused on extensive skincare regime increased to 46%. Now, what this tells us is, there may have been a need arising from the pandemic, towards availability of time, towards maybe the need or changing consumer behavior towards how one appears in terms of presenting themselves in virtual environments. But having said that, all of that led to a lot of use of cosmetic products for skincare, for hair care, and other treatments which are intended more towards the beauty side of the personal care proposition. Now, if we look at the other side of it, medical practitioners, doctors, they see the downside of using too much cosmetics, using multiple products for the same purpose. And what they believe is, for example, this is leading to a lot of skin problems, and they see an increase in the incidence rate of patients coming over to medical practitioners with problems related to the skin due to overuse of such products, right? Now, end of the day, what we believe is, too much of anything is probably not good, and maybe the skin needs a real break. And this is exactly where the concept of skin minimalism, or skinimalism as we may call it, it comes into play. And surely but steadily, it is becoming one of the hot topics, which is gaining a lot of attention among the consumer groups, among the various ethnicities and the demographics, and also creating a stir in the larger value chain of the personal care industry. The nuances of how the industry is positioned today, what are some of the practices which are ongoing, and food for thought for what is expected in the coming years. And for this section, I'll request my colleague Shomolina to take it from here. And so Shomolina, over to you, and we look forward to an exciting discussion and thoughts from your side. Thank you.
Let's talk about what kind of research activity or what kind of commercialization or what kind of use cases are being upheld in across the value chain. Now, we did say that it is coming into picture, and some of the brands are not very much passed through this trend, but there are some brands who are sticking by it and working throughout that area. And here we want to talk about some of the use cases, how the research activity is booming in the area of minimalistic solution, or we try to say a hybrid kind of solution. Now, this data point which we are trying to show here talks about how in the past 10 years we have seen a rise of activity in the research, specifically led by the Asia Pacific in the area of minimal solution in the beauty care segment. And if I point out on the filing trend, we can see over the past 10 years there has been a 28% growth on CAGR. And when I look at the filing trend and all that, we have seen that as the year passes by, every year there's more and more traction or more and more publications being done in the area of minimalistic solution and in the area of hybrid technology, which will bring us to the skin minimalism. A lot of startups are coming up with the conscious and entering this value chain of skin minimalism. Now, very interesting to know that some of the startup has their mantra, or they have their conscious on the area of skin minimalism also. So they are guided by the idea of skin minimalism, and they have launched their website or they have launched their product portfolio.
So we'll like to move towards the future and what it brings to the table. Now, obviously, we understand that this space of skin minimalism is not a mature space for sure. And as I was mentioning earlier, consumers may always have had the desire to use less and mean more. However, we are only seeing this trend getting traction in the recent past, and of course we believe that it is not a trend that will go away pretty soon. Now, the most important thing that we believe that the entire industry should keep in mind here is the choice of consumers. We must realize that consumers are very much aware these days on the type of solutions they need, the kind of economics they are ready to delve into, the kind of transparency they are looking for in their right to know what they are using and the right to know the benefits that the products bring to them, right? And clearly we see in numerous surveys, in numerous reports, and with our interactions that we manage with the consumers, we see that consumers clearly do not want excess of ingredients, do not want excess of functional benefits which is not required for their skin genome or their hair genomes, right? And that is the first and foremost and most important thing that, for example, the entire industry, including, of course, starting with the brands and then boiling down to the upstream players, including the ingredients, including the packaging, including maybe the role of digital and what it brings to the table, right? So that it has to work together in tandem to keep in mind the growing needs of the consumers and understanding the real needs or the real benefits that the consumers are looking at.